All right. So we're here today taking a moment to get to know Loubert. Yeah, the reason why I want to do this is just to give a chance for our students just to get to know you a little better.
Excellent.
And give a chance for you to kind of introduce yourself.
Right, yeah. My name is Nicolas, one of the competitors at OAMA. I'm 23 years old, born and raised in Ottawa, Ontario. So to get to know myself, I started martial arts 3 years ago. I'm now one of the Muay Thai competitors, now in B class, and have 5 fights under my belt.
Amazing. And just recently, you've been getting more involved with the school.
Yes.
Playing a bigger role. You know, you're now starting to help us out with our front desk. You're helping students transition into classes, as well as you are continuing to develop your own skill and knowledge towards, your next fight.
Yes, exactly it. So before the quarantine, I was working at in the restaurant industry. Mm-hmm. So I went to La Cité, the college, for 2 years for the hospitality restaurant management course, and it went really well. Everything I really do enjoy it. It's really one of my passions. But I was working at the Moxie's before, working in restaurants, which is great necessarily financially, but not the greatest scene when it comes to living the life of a martial artist. So as you might know, there's some conflict between the two, between being able to go to restaurants, eat the food that I want to. Of course, there's drinks and mixology, but it's a lot of drinking and, a lot of people that party all the time. Mm-hmm. And then the life of the martial artist that I want to live and to have to wake up early and to train and to run at nights and stuff like that. So there was a lot of conflict in between the two. Yeah. During the quarantine, I had a lot of time to think, which is great. I had read a lot of books, was influenced by some great people, being you one of them, and so then I decided to make the transition to go into martial arts with the help and guidance, of course, of the veterans and yourself. Yeah. And now I'm on the correct path of the martial artist. Yeah. Now I'm finally doing what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Time goes by so quickly, and working in restaurants is something that's always there. Food and drinks is something humans need to always be there. Yeah. But martial arts is the opportunity that I have right now. It's an opportunity that will always be there. So I decided to take the jump, the leap of faith, and I'm trusting everything. I really feel like I'm on a bungee cord going all the way down. It's exciting. It's really exciting. It's amazing. Just from the few I've been now really involved around for a month and a few weeks now. Yeah. And every week there's just such improvement. My own skills and my self-discipline skills, of course, to my own skills at the gym, being able to learn new responsibilities, learning new skills. I do transition back to restaurants, or things that I can bring on skills I have for life.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that's what's kind of exciting is to, obviously you're starting a new career, switching from one industry to another. Yes, yeah. And I the way I look at our industry of martial arts is that we're in an industry of service.
I agree. I fully agree.
And it's kind of neat how being in the restaurant industry and being in a very mindset of creating an experience for people. You're very focused on trying to have people have a good experience with family and friends. Often people are celebrating some sort of event, or they're sharing special time with loved ones at a restaurant in that kind of dining experience. And you're basically aiding in that process.
Fully agree.
To give them the best experience possible. And what's kind of neat about that is, as a martial artist and as a teacher, instructor, I mean, that's what we're doing in our environment.
Absolutely.
We're giving people an experience, preparing them for a journey, putting them on a path where they get to learn a lot about themselves, and they get to often conquer and overcome great fears or challenges. So it's interesting to hear you say how this idea of being in an industry where you're enjoying it, it's based on service, but then you're also around maybe certain characteristics you just don't want to be around.
Exactly it. That's exactly it. Being at the martial arts gym is being one of the first things you see when you walk into OAMA is just effort. It's around everybody who walks in. Every single person who walks in puts the effort to go into every class. One of the hardest parts, I will say, about it, and one of the greatest and most positive things that have ever happened to my mind is going into the 6:15 class and working hard 6:15 and having to stay for that 7:15 class after and having to stay for sparring. There's times where my mind go, are you sure you wanted to do this? Are you sure? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of kicks and punches. You know, the body is tired, been doing like squats all day and so on and so on. And then to actually persevere and do all those classes and finish, there's no greater feeling. You know you've conquered your great day. And there's just so much effort from the people that are there every day to the people who are there once a day. People walk out of there sweating. You know, everybody's got a silk shirt. And you see so much effort. It was really cool. I got to teach my first adult class today. Not today, this week. And it was absolutely amazing. It's ridiculous to see the amount of people. It's a very different point of view when you're in the front of class and looking at everyone put in the work. It's crazy to see the amount of effort and how much people zone out and just try and just really try to put in the work. People don't think about anything else when they're punching the bag. They're just throwing their jab, their cross, their kicks. They're going as hard as they can. Even it's funny because of course, Coach Crew Amy is always screaming at us and so on. I got to do a little bit of that part, which is really fun. But the energy that people get, of course, telling people to keep their hands up, and when they put their hands up, it's funny. It's kind of like a smile, but with determination. That they're ready. They know they need to put their hands up, and they're determined to do it. And it's really cool to see. So it's one of the things that did help me make the change and so on was just the effort put into the OAMA gym.
I can really appreciate what you're saying because I think that idea, like as you were saying, you were looking for that discipline and structure in doing martial arts and focusing on that. Now, as you grow in this field, and as I describe about we're doing something of great service to, I think, a large part of our community, as you describe the students and the effort people give in martial arts. Absolutely. I think what's really unique about being in an environment of martial artists and being in the industry, you're hanging out with people who are high achievers.
Yes, I fully agree.
And I think it's pretty remarkable, you know, and it's funny as you hang around martial artists and you hang out in the industry, you just feel the need to work out. You feel the need to constantly improve. And it's funny how you're saying, you know, during the quarantine, during COVID, you're reading and studying. You know, I find as a martial artist, again, being in the industry, being around people, you're so encouraged to keep growing and studying. You know,
absolutely. Fully agree.
Either it's reading the newest books to give you some sort of an edge of improvement, but then at the same time as you're watching your teammates constantly improve, it's so encouraging. And
110%. And
it's like I don't know how the saying goes, but it's like when the tide rises, like it lifts all the boats, right? Like
right.
You know, you see that, yes, as you described, that effort in the school, all the students are benefiting from it. You know, when you're side by side with other people giving their all, giving their best effort,
110%.
It's contagious, right? And it makes you want to give a harder effort, and it gets you through.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
It gets you through all those classes, like you're describing, where you're like, "Do I want to do 3 classes in a row? I don't know." But then once you start, you just can't stop.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You go through the whole thing. What would you say? You know, sparked your interest in martial arts?
So we'll say it started all the way back from when I was a kid. I have a lot of cousins born around the same age. So we would wrestle a lot and we would watch a lot of WWE. It's funny, one of the WWE fighters, a lot of people don't know this, but Edge is from Ontario. Orangeville, Ontario.
Yeah.
So really cool. So that's one of the fighters I used to look up to. I was like, man, this guy's from Ontario, and this guy made it all the way to WWE. Such a cool character.
Yeah.
And so many great fighters. And I would wrestle with my cousins all the time. I'm one of the younger ones, so always had to try to use more strength and more power. And but it was just always surrounded around fun. We would wrestle, hurt each other a little bit. We'd put a mattress on the ground, try to do the suplex and so on. A few tears on my side for sure. But I made it through. So I knew I was great at wrestling because I would train with them all the time, and I kind of had the idea of it a little bit. And then as I went on to high school, we started there was a high school team and high school wrestling team, 8th grade. My brother is a few years older than me, and he did wrestling before I got into high school. So I knew when I get into high school, it's the first thing I want to do. I want to get into wrestling. Went into wrestling, did 5 years of wrestling. I'm very thankful. I got the opportunity to play 4 years of football and 4 years of rugby as well with all of it. And there was, as much as I did enjoy the team sports, and they were really fun, great environment, of course, and I'd recommend them to anybody. Wrestling was really the sport where I felt like I was really the most tested and the one where I was most dedicated to. Whenever it was time for the tournaments, I was on, ready to go. I got the opportunities to go to some really cool tournaments, got some great medals in it. I was very, very, very thankful for that experience. After high school, I got asked from one of my older coworkers that I used to work with at A&W from way back when I think when I was 14, 13. Yeah. And he asked me to play football with him. Went to go play 2 years of football. And I realized then that sports don't have to end after high school, but I could continue to play on sports. Yep. I then was always interested in martial arts. I knew, it sounds weird to say, but it was funny because in 9th grade, I was hanging out with a friend, and we were hanging out. She's like, "Oh, what do you want to do in the future?" I was like, "I wouldn't mind being in the UFC one day." And it's super funny because we're in 9th grade. I've never really wrestled, never really striked or anything, but it was just one of the goals that I had just in my mind that I was like, if I had a dream job, that would be it. Yeah. And it's funny because I was reading that conversation just not too long ago, and I was like, wow. Years later now, 2 years after high school, I searched up a few schools, went to a few of them, but I did not, and none of them really clicked like OAMA did. OAMA was a far distance. I had to take the bus there in the morning, or the bus there, I think it was an hour and a half bus. People were like, "Oh, why do you go so far? There's some gyms in Orleans, you're in all the way there," and I'm like, it's not like, you can't compare it. You really can't compare it. OAMA is just, as you said, it's just individuals with such a solid mindset and they're ready to go. But one of the things that was so great is how the veterans, and it's amazing that I get to be one of those people now, but the veterans are people who were there to help and were ready to go. When I started training, Amy was there, and at any time, any place, if I had any questions, she was there. She would stay extra after class. If I had a question, I was never nervous to ask her anything. It wasn't like being in a school where I had to ask, or I had to be ashamed of asking questions of, how do you throw a cross again? What's a jab? Or what's a stance? Or how to so on, or still forget to this day, what's a check called? What's a leg kick block? So it was everybody was so welcoming. Went in there, signed up for the year first day, went up to the 2 classes, signed up for a year, and it was set from there. And then it was all she wrote. Had the first experience of fighting in the ring, and it was amazing.
Basically hooked from there.
Yeah, exactly. I got the bug, and then went online, looked at the Liam Badco videos, looked at all the shorts that I could, looked at the gloves, looked at Thailand, just looked into the sport, and then from there it was just, I couldn't stop. I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and I knew that this lifestyle was a lifestyle that I could live well.
Right on. I could really relate to the WWE inspiration. I mean, I grew up with 2 older brothers.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, they're enormous. Like both my brothers are like approximately 6'5".
Okay.
Both over like 250 pounds. They're enormous men.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, needless to say, I'm very fast. I had to run from them all the time.
That's a good plan at that point.
But for us growing up, and even with a lot of my cousins, like very much the same. We'd watch the WrestleManias. We would watch. Yeah. The Royal Rumbles, like,
of course, 100%.
All those events we were super obsessed with, and wrestling was kind of always a theme in my house and with a lot of my extended family. And it's just kind of funny that it led to this path, from watching the martial art movies, from or even like what really got me on that path is like Rocky, watching the Rocky movies. Yeah. And wanting to become a boxer, and then getting into the idea of kickboxing, and then learning about Muay Thai. And then I was very lucky. A friend of mine actually introduced me to jiu-jitsu.
Right.
It's crazy. A friend of mine brought me to a school that was in my neighborhood. That's where I met the team. I met, Pat Cooligan. And at that time, when I got introduced to jiu-jitsu and martial arts and specifically jiu-jitsu, my feeling was basically I was part of a family.
Right.
And I was included. It was an incredible experience. But now here we are in your short period of time with us in your specifically your Muay Thai career. How many times have you had the opportunity to fight?
I've had the opportunity more times than I have fought itself, but I have fought 5 times now.
5 times.
I've been in the ring 5 times, and it's been an absolute pleasure every single time. Now that there's a flow of it, and I'm training, and I'm healthy, and I'm running, and I'm greater on my weight, just all around, I'm able to compete much more often. So the next year, I'm looking to make it all the way up to my A class and have a B class competition.
Amazing.
Once, of course, the procedures for the quarantine and all that are all done.
Of course. And if somebody was thinking about getting on the path of martial arts, let's say, not even necessarily fighting, like obviously we know how to get people into a position if they want to fight, but if somebody just wanted to train, like what do they need to do?
First thing that I would say, and really what I would recommend, is just come in for a class. Honestly, just send us a message. We'll inform you. We'll tell you what to bring. We'll guide you. Come in for a class. Try out the free trial, of course. There's nothing wrong with it. You're not going to waste your time. And it's weird to say. It's cheesy to say, but the best way of being able to present you what we serve and what we do is just to come in and try it out. That is how confident I am with the product of the lifestyle, because it really is just, if you come in and you try on a class, you will not leave disappointed. And if you do, I'd be absolutely shocked. I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think what we're talking about is we just want to see people doing martial arts.
Absolutely.
And anybody can benefit from it. And if anyone has been thinking about it, I mean, really, they just need to, jump into it.
Absolutely, yes.
There's nothing to wait.
Fully agree.
This has been phenomenal. Thank you so kindly for taking the time to hang out and share some of your inspirations, and look forward to seeing you in the school.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Hammer.
Thanks, Lou.
Take care. That was awesome. Thank you.